are going over the Detroit Lions news for this Monday, June 16. And in this video, we're going to be talking about a trade rumor that came out from Neal Ruhl from Woodward Sports from what he's hearing about TJ Watt. We'll get into that one. Players that could be cut before training camp. Well, players definitely in danger. We're going to get into those players right there. Brad Holmes opens up about the trades of the edge and the trade deadline and all of that stuff. We'll get into that article. And do the Lions got to be worried about OTAs? I don't think so, but an article believes I'm incorrect. Let's go. If you're a fan of the Detroit Lions, what do you got to do? You're going to hit that like button. Why is that? Because that would be awesome. I would like that. Smash that like button. Article came out from Heavy.com. Says Detroit Lions have people worried after OTAs. And it's just talking about the issues of players not basically going up on time. Obviously, the players that they selected, they didn't feel as the great. Talk about Davenport in the offseason, all of these type of stuff. So you can go ahead and check this one out. It says the good thing because the new look offense is going through some growing pains. Yeah, it is going to go through some growing, but we all knew that it was going to go through some growing pains, right? Like this is normal for this team to go through these growing pains. You got a new coordinator. You got new pieces on the offensive line, 3 new pieces to be exact. And we don't even know who the starters are. You have injuries to, well, St. Brown didn't even practice because he had a cleanup, multiple injuries. The Lions in OTAs is just that. It's just a practice, and I'm not too worried about it. It's OTAs. There's going to be growing pains. We know this. We know the offense is going to suffer a little bit. We know these things. It's going to happen. I want to see the biggest losers in all of OTAs. Holy smokes. That's going up there saying it was just an awful, awful time. I don't think that was the case at all. Lions, there's going to be some confusion. There's going to be some issues in OTAs. It's OTAs, folks. It's OTAs. We're not even training camp at this point. Not even training camp. So we will definitely, sorry about this, my back is having issues. We'll definitely, we'll see what training camp goes on, but I'm not too worried about it right now. What do you guys think about OTAs? Are you worried about the Detroit Lions, OTAs, all of that? Should the Detroit Lions sign Michigan quarterback Bryce Perkins? They lost in the championship game last night. Bryce Perkins, former NFL player, was actually for the Rams for 5 years, or not 5 years, but played in 5 games. I think it was in 22, or 21. I don't know the exact time, but obviously Brad Holmes was there. He was part of the organization. He was there. And so they're talking about here, should the Lions go ahead and cite Bryce Perkins? Talk about Hendon Hooker in this article. This wouldn't, I don't think the Lions, first off, if they were to sign him, as really more Kyle Allen, in my opinion, than Bryce Perkins. They're 2 different players. You have one, I mean, Perkins is only a year older, I think, than Hendon Hooker, so it's not much of a difference there. But look, if they wanted to bring in competition, I have no problem bringing in competition, but I think that's more of a Kyle Allen competition. But they already brought him in, so I don't think the Lions are going to bring Perkins in, because they already brought their competition in for Hendon Hooker. I think they're going to have Hendon Hooker is going to be the backup. That's what I do believe in the heart of hearts at some point. So I don't think the Lions would do, if they were to bring in Perkins, it'd be against, I mean, I guess it would be competition for both the quarterbacks. They both haven't been too impressive in the amount of training that they have had this offseason. But, I mean, it's just the beginning. You still got training camp, and they can battle it. It's the backup core. It's QB2. So we're not talking about QB1. I think that Hendon Hooker's definitely got the edge on that right now. A lot of people were hyped about, not Josh Allen, but Kyle Allen when he came here. And I'm like, I am not worried about Hendon Hooker with Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen has been a perennial backup his entire career. That's all he has done. He hasn't done really anything at all. Bryce Perkins, the same thing. I think the Lions will sit pat. They'll stay with Hendon Hooker if they really wanted another quarterback. If they're eyeing one for development, not for just like a backup, but for development, don't you think that they would have done that in the draft or an undrafted guy? But they didn't do that. They stayed with the same guys. They stayed with Hendon Hooker. They stayed with Josh Allen. They're going to let them battle it out, in my opinion. Look, if they completely bunk, I guess they go to a different direction. I just don't think that's going to be the case. I think we got our quarterbacks for this team, unless I do put the caveat, unless somebody is released from another team. You can look at the Browns. They got a ton of quarterbacks. That is an upgrade. And the Lions will always upgrade. And that's what you want to see. You want to see Brad Holmes always looking to upgrade, always looking to better the roster. And so we'll put that as a caveat there. But right now, I don't see that to be the case. In the comments, would you would you sign Bryce Perkins? Trade, can't trade that. Let's get into the next one. It says 3 players in danger of getting cut after minicamp. I don't even care about the two people. It says Ronnie Bell, don't really care. He's a backup guy. Deron Gilbert, don't really care. Broderic Martin, the guy who I've been talking about all off-season, even in season last year. I was told that he may not make the roster. I think he'll be still on the team for the 90-man, but he'll be cut. He's not going to make the 53-man roster. I've been saying this for a while. I was told for a long time that he is not going to be on the team. I was told this a while ago in season, this past season. So 100,000% he's in danger of being cut. 1,000%. I think they'll use him right now for bodies. They'll give him this training camp. I don't think they're going to do that before. Why would you cut before? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. You put a little bit of hope out there. And plus, you want to have bodies out there for camp. You want to have these guys getting in those. You can't have everybody, or you can't just have the starters out there the whole time and even backups. You got to have camp bodies. And I think he's kind of even though he's a draft pick, we traded up for him. We gave up draft picks to get him. In my opinion, at this point of his career, from what I have seen, no growth. I think he is a camp body. I think he will be cut significantly early. He's not a guy that's going to be on the team week 1. That's what I have. What do you guys think, though? Do you think that Broderic Martin can make the team? I'm curious to see what you guys think on this one. Let's get into Brad Holmes discussing a trade. Now, I've already talked about this before endlessly, but he came out and just said it, so obviously it's news here. Talking about how hard it is to trade for a pass rusher. He says during the trade deadline, you'd call the teams, and they'd be like, what, for a 3rd or a 4th? And they said if we have our injury, we would then need him, so we don't want to trade the player. He says trades are hard, long, difficult to do. And he couldn't get it done. He tried to call the guys. I'm sure he tried to call. I'm a man right here, right? Sure, tried called. I'm Mad Max. Sure, he tried called all sorts of players, but it didn't work out because the team's got to give up the players. You got to have 2 to tango, and right now there's no tangoing. Well, at least for the trade deadline, I don't think right now there's any of that going on. We keep hearing the Trey Hendrickson. We're going to get into another player here soon. Trey Hendrickson trade. It's not going to happen, right? I don't know how many times he's got to, Brad Holmes got to spill it, how difficult it is. It'll get us to our next subject here in a minute. It's a little bit different, though. It's a new individual in the trade rumor market, but it's something that I think I don't see happening. Small end trades, yes. Big end trades, no. I don't see it. It's just, for Brad Holmes, doing the big trades like he talked about in here is just not easy enough. It's not good enough. He's not willing to give up mass future, and it takes 2 to tango. It does. So if the other team didn't do it, I'm not going to get upset. Yeah, we got Smith. I'm sure they tried to get Myles Garrett. Sure, he tried to get all these other guys. But it didn't happen. Didn't happen. In the comments, would you trade for TJ Watt. Why for yes and for no? Next article here is that, according to Woodward Sports Network, Watt was told, another player, that a contract extension doesn't get done at the Steelers, he would end up getting traded or becoming a free agent. He would prefer to go to the Lions. Surprise, surprise, Lions head coach Dan Campbell is drawing card for Watt. Watt would really enjoy playing for Dan Campbell in Detroit if he's unable to get something done in Pittsburgh, host Neal Ruhl said. Nothing is imminent. I'm not saying a deal's in place. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm telling you is that I was told Watt said to another NFL player. And I agree. Neal Ruhl's not going to lie. He's not a liar over there. Woodward Sports. Look, I'm sure a lot of people would love to play for TJ Watt. Or for Dan Campbell. A lot of people would like to play for Dan Campbell. A lot of people would like to play for this football team. We just talked about it's the money, it's the compensation, it's all that. Everybody would love to have TJ Watt on this team. Yes. Yes, I would too. Yes, you would too. We all would imagine having that. TJ Watt. Aiden Hutchinson. Lee McNeil. DJ Reader. Tyleek. It would be ridiculous, right? That would be epic. I don't see it happening. Money, money, money. He wants a new contract. The Lions don't have the money for it. Now, with Frank Ragnow did retire, we're going to save money there, but we got a lot of other contracts I got to deal with. Jamison Williams, that's probably where that money's going to go to at some point. So I don't see the TJ Watt getting traded. I think it's awesome that he wants to be here. You know, it's cool to see players want to come to Detroit, and big-name players. That's a name change that we don't have much, right? Players want to come to Detroit. Yes, that's great. I don't see it happening, though. I'd love for it to happen, but don't see it happening. Give me your thoughts on today's Lions News and Rumors audio.